Look, I've been in this property investment industry now for over 16 years, and I'm often asked the question, how do you actually spot a property spruiker? Because lots of people talk about a property spruiker, but what actually is it? And in my view, there's actually three, people that you can take your information from in the property investment industry. The first person is a salesperson who's not pretending to be anything other than a salesperson that's being employed by the developer to sell their product. They sit typically in a sales office, they invite inquiry, and they're trying to sell one of the developer's products. Whether it's an off-the-plan apartment, whether it's a house and land package, they're very, very clear on what they're wanting to do. And on the other side of the equation, you've got the advisor, the true property investment advisor who has no stock list, no agenda. They want to find out exactly what's going on for the investor so they can work out what tailored solution they need to provide on behalf of the property investor. And then you've got this grey area in between, because the salesperson's not pretending to be anyone they're not, and the true property advisor is not pretending to be anyone else that they're not. But this person in the middle often is masquerading as an advisor, but they really are a salesperson. And the reason they're doing that is because there's extraordinarily high incomes on offer for any salesperson who can actually get a transaction done in the real estate game. And so the challenge I have is not whether or not you buy it from one of these three people, but it's about masquerading as something that you're not. So property spruikers really prey on ignorance, fear and greed. That's their toolkit to try and entice you into buying one of the products that they're going to be paid very handsomely on if you facilitate, or if they facilitate a transaction. So the analogy that I like to think of is, imagine you went to the doctor and you sat down in the consultation room and the doctor didn't ask you a single thing about your circumstances, and they just started writing a script and handing it over to you and sort of ushering you out the door and having never really talked to you at all. And you'd feel pretty ripped off in that circumstance. But unfortunately, in the property investment industry, that happens all the time. People come in and say, what's the best property investment for me? And the spruiker will go, actually, this one will work really well for you. And for me, I'm thinking, you haven't asked them any questions about how old are they, how much income do they earn, what's their ability to repay the debt, are they fearful of debt or are they open to debt, how long until retirement, are you in the accumulation phase, are you close to pension phase? There's so many questions that you need to understand about a person before you even come close to recommending bricks and mortar. So again, those are the things that really set a spruiker apart from a salesperson and from a true advisor. So some things or some signs that you can look out for to see if you are dealing with a spruiker is, the first one is they're recommending property that's being heavily marketed away from the local area. So for example, if there's a property that's being built in Melbourne, for example, and they're flying to Perth or Darwin or Brisbane, filling up a room trying to talk about those properties, you've got to kind of ask the question, if they're that good, why aren't the locals buying them? Why are you coming interstate to actually sell these properties? So that's really the number one sign that I can recommend to spot a spruiker. The second thing they do is they prey on areas where the principal place of residence where the person's living actually seems more expensive than the investment property. So for example, they might target an area where the principal place of residence is typically somewhere between 550 and say 650,000. But they're recommending an investment property at 450,000. So it actually seems really cheap. And because of that, you don't really notice all of the big sales commissions that are loaded into the price. So again, that's another sign for you to sort of see whether or not you're dealing with a spruiker. Another sign is rental guarantees. To me, that's a huge warning bell. Because if you're buying an investment property and it's in demand by tenants in the local area, why do you need a rental guarantee? But again, if we think about that preying on the ignorance and fear, it kind of gives people that warm feeling that I'll have a tenant maybe for the first 2 or 3 years. But after that 3-year rental guarantee, you are on your own. It's up to the local market conditions as to whether or not the tenant is prepared to pay what you were getting before the guarantee ran out compared to what you're getting after the rental guarantee ran out. So in my view, that's a huge alarm bell. The other one is where they suggest that all properties that they've got are positively geared. Now, make no mistake, you can get properties in this country that are positively geared. That's no problem. But if all of the properties, any one that you choose, can be positively geared, to me, again, that raises a few alarm bells and you need to look under the bonnet a little bit more at that. And again, I guess that's probably an extension of my next point is, if there is a stock list in place, chances are they're a spruiker. because a true advisor doesn't necessarily have a predetermined property in mind that they want to recommend to you before they go through a whole bunch of understanding your circumstances to see what actually fits best for you. Another sign is a heavy emphasis on tax. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a degree qualified accountant. I love tax benefits just like everyone else. But essentially, they're not the reason that you get into the investment property in the first place. They're a nice bonus, they're a nice benefit to help you cash flow holding these properties. But essentially, when you get that tax refund back, you're putting it straight towards the upkeep and the holding of the property. So it's not as if you're going on a shopping spree with it. So don't necessarily get seduced by the tax, just see it as a bit of a bonus. The other thing they tend to do is in their presentations, they put lots of clips up on the screen regarding favourable media messages for the local area. And again, that's kind of selective research in my view. You need to be able to do your own research for that. As a buyer's agent, when I'm buying on behalf of clients, I am negotiating on everything. Price, terms, conditions, settlement dates, everything. But quite often when you're buying a property from a spruiker, nothing's negotiable. In fact, the price is take it or leave it. And I would say that's another sign to look out for as to whether or not you're dealing with a spruiker. Because typically speaking, in a free marketplace where you're chasing a willing buyer versus a willing seller, there should be some sort of settling to where real market value exists. Not just having a spreadsheet saying that's the price you should pay, no correspondence entered into. So I guess there's a few things to look out for as to whether or not you're dealing with a property spruiker. But ultimately, remember the one thing that's always true that's been told by your parents and your grandparents, that there's no such thing as a free lunch. So if you are getting free advice, you've got to ask yourself the question, why am I getting this free advice? What's in it for them? And is this actually in the best interests of me as a property investment advisor? Now, if you keep your eyes wide open for all of that stuff, chances are that you won't get stung buying an investment property from a spruiker.